Well, that's it. The cat is well and truly out of the bag now. The man, formerly known as WWE's Damien Sandow, will be appearing at WCPW's July tapings. But how much do you really know about the intellectual saviour of the masses? As it turns out, actually, there is quite a lot of mystique and intrigue to a man who we thought we knew quite a lot about. Damien Sandow has actually got an extensive career before his main roster stint in WWE, so let's delve in and look at 10 things you didn't know about the man known as Damien Sandow. Number 1, he was trained by Killer Kowalski. That's right, Sandow was trained at the tender age of 16 under late WWE Hall of Famer Killer Kowalski, the man who also helped stars such as Triple H, Chyna, Perry Saturn, and Big John Studd break into the industry. I'm not going to say who you thought I was going to say, because that joke's getting old now. No, I won't mention him. The Yeti. Sandow could scarcely have chosen a trainer with better experience. Kowalski wrestled for various promotions in the NWA, as well as the Worldwide Wrestling Federation, that's the WWF, the company that went on to become WWF, but there were more W's, so it was more better. His most memorable rivalry was perhaps that with legendary babyface Bruno Sammartino in the 60s and 70s, and Kowalski also holds the claim to fame of being the first man to pin Andre the Giant in the continent of North America. Number 2, now we may know him best as a cunning intellectual heel or a funny slapstick babyface, but Sandow is actually a former hardcore champion. Before becoming a mainstay on television, Sandow wrestled in the Puerto Rico-based International Wrestling Association, or IWA. Then wrestling under the name of Aaron Stevens, he won the IWA Hardcore Championship from a wrestler known as Slash Venom. And how long did Sandow's reign last? It lasted one whole day. He dropped it the very next day to Jimmy Snuka Jr., better known as WWE's Deuce out of Deuce and Domino, or Sim Snuka, or the cameraman who failed to catch The Undertaker during that terrifying suicide dive at WrestleMania 25. Number 3, think of the year that you reckon Sandow signed his first ever WWE contract in. Ready for the answer? No, you're wrong. It was 2002, and don't pretend that you guessed 2002. I know you didn't. You probably guessed 2004 or 2005. I'm not stupid. Sandow broke onto WWE's main roster in 2006 under the name of Idol Stevens, but actually joined the company far earlier in 2002. He signed his first contract after impressing in numerous tryout matches against the likes of Raven, Stevie Richards, Johnny Nitro, what was he doing there at the time, and the Yeti. He then flitted between the main roster, OVW and FCW, WWE's two developmental territories over those few years, until ascending to the main roster for good in 2012 under the name and gimmick that would make him famous. Number 4, Sandow made his pay-per-view debut at Vengeance 2003, dressed as the Easter Bunny. Sandow was given his pay-per-view debut at a relatively early stage in his career, given the fact that he'd only signed his contract the previous year. However, you'd be forgiven for not realising that it was him, as I previously mentioned, for the simple fact that he was dressed as the Easter Bunny. He appeared at Vengeance 2003, dressed as the Easter Bunny, and took part in the APA's Invitational Barroom Brawl, which was basically just a mess of it was like you just took some mid-carders and just jammed them together. So, I mean, you had Matt Hardy in there, you had both of the Bashams, you had the Brooklyn Brawler, Brother Love, and an incarnation of Doink the Clown, actually portrayed by Nick Eugene Dinsmore. So, a mishmash of figures there, an amalgamation of figures. I'm not going to invent any names that were in there, like Steve Blackman or S.A. Rios or the Yeti, but that would have been fantastic if they'd been in there. You know it would have been. Needless to say, Sandow didn't get a whole load of offense in, given the fact that he was dressed as Easter Bunny. But luckily, you'll be pleased to know that the match was won by Bradshaw. No surprises there, really. Number 5, Sandow's sexy gimmick in OVW. After accruing some invaluable, if brief, pay-per-view experience, Sandow was assigned to OVW, where he sort of had a rather questionable gimmick. He performed under the name the Maharaja of the Menage a Trois. Now, I don't really know much about this gimmick, it's hard to sort of find footage, but I imagine it just revolved around the fact that, he had a lot of threesomes. That's the Maharaja of the Menage a Trois. He is a dude who has a lot of threesomes. And to drive that point home, Sandow would make his entrance accompanied by 2 women, as if to say, look, he's sleeping with both of these women. Whoa. Those women, out of interest, were Beth Phoenix and Shelly Martinez. So that's, a little tidbit there. Number 6, Colonel Damien Sandow. Now, Sandow's career took an interesting turn after being the Maharaja of the Menage a Trois. He then went to the WWC, the World Wrestling Council Federation in Puerto Rico, set up by the Colon family, that's Carlito's boys. Then he came back to FCW, the new developmental territory of WWE. And there, he found himself a wacky new gimmick. Brace yourselves, Colonel Damien Sandow. He was a stern militant, clad in army garb and a beret. And he actually had some success. He won the FCW Tag Team titles alongside none other than a current main roster superstar. I'll give you a few seconds to guess who it is. He wrestled at Money in the Bank. One of the best dads ever. Got absolutely destroyed by Rusev. That's right. It's Titus O'Neil. Number 7, he is the 3rd ever OVW Triple Crown champion. It wasn't all fun and games for Sandow in his developmental career. He'll actually be remembered as one of the most successful wrestlers in Ohio Valley Wrestling history. He was the promotion's 3rd ever Triple Crown champion, winning the television, tag team and heavyweight championships during his time there. Now hold on Jack, you might say, if you know a lot about your OVW history, in which case, you should probably get out more. 17 other men have been OVW Triple Crown champions as well. Like Sandow's feat isn't that amazing. Well, hold on, I'll counter because I looked this up on the internet. Sandow was only the 3rd ever Triple Crown champion, preceded by CM Punk and Brent Albright. I mean, you can barely pick them apart really in terms of careers, can you? Number 8, he can spit bars, yo. Now, in honour of Damien Sandow's appearance on Up Up Down Down, he appeared in the half-time interval of the finale of their Madden tournament. Check that if you can, because he dropped some fire beats under the nickname Sizzle. I'm going to try and do a little freestyle rap. Prepare yourselves now. Yo, and he's Damien Sandow. That's right, he's the mother man now. Oh, I don't know how he does it. How? That's right, he's better than a cow. Cows are bad farm animals. That's right, and I'm gonna get magical with my beats. Okay, that's quite enough. Number 9, he has an extensive background in Kung Fu. One might imagine that Sandow, like many eventual WWE superstars, enjoyed a background in maybe football or basketball or even amateur wrestling. Perhaps surprisingly then, he was actually brought up with an extensive martial arts background and practiced Kung Fu between the ages of 5 and 16. He even revealed on another Up Up Down Down appearance that he dabbled in the infamous drunken style, in which students feign drunkenness to lure opponents into a false sense of security and maybe to, you know, just look a little bit funny in Jackie Chan films as well. Number 10, the origin of the name Sandow. Sandow's eventual main roster ring name wasn't just plucked from thin air. His adopted surname actually reveals the influences behind the saviour gimmick and harks back to old school tough guys of the early 20th century. Billy Sandow was an early pro wrestler and promoter and a member of the infamous Gold Dust Trio, a group who really revolutionised the industry back in the 1920s. Not sure why they were called the Gold Dust Trio, presumably because they made gold dust out of an industry that was really sort of DIY and carnival based, and they spun it into gold dust, I'm guessing. Or they were time travelers and they were just really big fans of gold dust. Now Billy Sandow, may have in turn taken his name from Eugen Sandow, a German strongman known as the father of modern bodybuilding. So you kind of see where Damien Sandow, gets these old school influences from. He had the robe, he called himself the intellectual saviour, he was very well spoken. And then you look at the vaudevillains and you think, are they ripping off Sandow's gimmick? Just a little piece of controversy to finish things off with here on WhatCulture.com. Well, that's all we've got time for. I hope you've enjoyed our look back at 10 things you didn't know about Damien Sandow. Look out for him arriving at WCPW this July 27th and 28th in Newcastle. Go to wc.pw for all tickets and information. And finally, I've been Jack from WhatCulture.com. Follow me on Twitter at Jack_the Jobber, please. And I'll see you soon.